I'd like to start with a little bit about your organization and what is it that you specifically are looking at for the next 12 months.
Okay, yeah, it was nice meeting you. Rwanda Energy Group today was EWSA a month or 2 months ago. I'm sure you knew about EWSA. EWSA was the Energy, Water and Sanitation Authority. It was a government parastatal, which they thought splitting the organization would ensure more efficiency, more service delivery, quick service delivery, and of course efficiency. So it was split 2 months ago, forming two corporations, one for water, the Water and Sanitation Corporation, headed by a managing director. It was a department in EWSA. It's now a standalone company, still owned by government 100%. Then there is the Rwanda Energy Group, which would specifically look at energy projects. And Rwanda Energy Group has also two subsidiaries. There is the Energy Development Corporation Limited and the Utility Corporation. The Energy Development Corporation will mainly address itself on generation, new investments, and then once a plant is built and is in operation, it is passed over to the utility company for operation and maintenance. So mainly that's what the reform was about. Yeah.
So what do you hope to achieve in the next 12 months?
In the next 12 months, after splitting these companies, government decided to leave the staff intact for a period of 12 months for continuity purposes. We have now embarked on asset separation. EWSA had a lot of assets that need to be shared between the water company and the electricity company. So they are now on asset separation. There are issues of accounts to be split and shared, fixed assets like land, like buildings. So that's what we are doing right now. We are being assisted by Price Waterhouse and some other specialized companies to make sure the reform is well done for better delivery. Yeah. And we expect, of course, more specialization for these companies. The water company will now specialize on making sure that they deliver clean water to the population. They will be less distracted because they will be mainly focusing on water, providing clean water, and the electricity company will now not be overstretched looking into water and electricity. They will specifically be looking at water projects and electricity projects. So I expect more focus for these companies.
Mm-hmm. And what is your background?
My background is quite funny. If to find myself in the energy company, I studied political science at Makerere University, and that was my first degree. Then I studied accounting in the same university, Makerere University. After studying, I worked as an accountant for 7 years in Uganda. Before I went for further studies in UK to study an MBA in General Management from University of Wales. And I worked in UK for about 6 years after my course before I returned to Rwanda. When I returned to Rwanda, I worked with Rwanda Development Board. I was coordinating business development services in the country. Before I joined the EWSA, when EWSA introduced the investment unit to specifically, Rwanda Development Board looks at the country's investments. But in 2012, government thought and decided to have a specific and specialized unit within EWSA to deal with energy and water investments. So that's how I moved from Rwanda Development Board to EWSA to be part of the investment unit group.
It sounds like you are the perfect person
Yeah.
to be working on this.
Yes.
I'd like to know, in terms of the projects that you are going to be investing in, what are the specific challenges that you need to overcome, and how are you going to overcome them?
Okay, challenge number one is we are used to government investments. Government putting money aside to invest in energy projects. Now we have adopted an approach of involving more the private sector in the generation part of it, where we identify projects that need development, advertise them, attract private investors, IPPs, where we negotiate power purchase agreements with them, agree, and the project is running. Where I see challenges is in contract management. It's another issue. We are not used to working with IPPs. So although you sign a power purchase agreement with an independent power producer, but there is more to do on managing the contract from day one up to the last day of the contract. So there is a challenge there, but we hope to overcome it. We intend to train our staff to make sure that they know how to work with IPPs, they know what to expect, when what the IPP has to deliver. That's very important.
In terms of generation capacity in Rwanda, how much is currently available, and how much are you projecting?
Yeah, currently we are at 110 megawatts capacity, and we expect to generate up to 563 by 2017. That's a target. Yes, that's a target we have. There are ongoing projects that will give us up to around 400 megawatts. Some are nearing completion. We have also thought of using the regional interconnectors to purchase power from the neighboring countries. Like recently, we concluded power purchase negotiation with Kenya to purchase up to 40 megawatts, and we shall wheel it through Uganda. That means that we have to negotiate a wheeling charge with Uganda, which has been concluded as well. So we are getting up to 40 megawatts from Kenya. There are also plans to extend up to Ethiopia, with governments have signed an MOU of about 400 megawatts. So when the interconnectors between Kenya and Ethiopia are complete, we hope to take advantage of.
Are there challenges in distribution?
I think I'm not well qualified to talk about the distribution now, but definitely they are. Yeah.
So you're going to be generating the capacity, and then in terms of transmission and distribution, that would be somebody else would be leading that?
Yes, I hope that will be the role of this utility company to either improve the distribution service or even engage private operators, outsourcing more qualified distributors to do the job like they are doing in Uganda, using umeme and the like. I'm sure we shall get there. So, yeah.
Other infrastructure development besides looking at power generation, it goes hand in hand in terms of road infrastructure, rail, things like that.
Yes.
Who are you working with there, and what are the things that are happening on the ground?
In the transmission sector, we've also started using the private developers. We've recently advertised the tender to attract investors to come and do the transmission lines, improve the networks. As we expand the capacity, of course there is need to improve the network, so we do that concurrently. Yeah.
Can you give me an idea of what is a day like in Rwanda? Do you have a lot of power outages? Are people complaining? Who do they complain to? Give our readers an idea of really living in Rwanda. How does it feel?
Living in Rwanda for relating it to power?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. There are, up to recently, there was no much outages. Apart from, of course, now industries are coming up, and as more and more industries are coming up, the more demand for energy is growing, and that's why we are striving every other day to make sure that we increase the capacity to serve all the customers, be it investors, the industrial part, and the domestic. Of course, you get investors coming up and say, I want 5 megawatts, I want 15 megawatts, I want up to 10 megawatts. So you have to work hard to make sure using all the resources available to make sure you provide such electricity. There is an example of a cement factory that has come up recently, and they want up to 15 megawatts. So you can imagine someone asking for 15 megawatts when you have 110 installed capacity for the whole country. So you have to work hard and
is that one client?
One client requesting for 15 megawatts.
Which specific industries are asking for such heavy power loads?
Yes.
Is it mining? Is it?
It's this one is a cement factory. It's a cement industry that they will be manufacturing cement for construction.
Right.
Yeah, we've had to look around and get them emergency power, the diesel, until that time when we can be able to supply them from the grid. So there are challenges.
And who looks at tariffs and the regulation around tariffs?
There is Rwanda Regulatory utilities regulatory agency that looks at the tariffs. But when we are attracting investors, we negotiate a tariff. If you giving us, if it is a project above 5 megawatts, Rwanda Energy Group negotiates with the developer an agreed tariff that they will supply electricity. But there are set tariffs set by RURA, the Rwanda Regulatory Agency, for the end user customers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of residential, are people connected to power? What type of power are they using?
Yeah, for now, the residential users are connected. The challenge we've been facing is the new industries that are coming up. Yeah, otherwise the domestic customers had no issues. Perhaps they will have them now, that they will have to compete for the insufficient power that we have to share among the commercial and the domestic clients. Mm-hmm. But we are working hard to make sure that we bridge that gap, that the demand gap that is growing every other day. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is the Rwandan sector going to be investing in some new technologies that are coming out, such as the CSPV, things like cogeneration and microgrids and?
Yeah, what I would say is new to us that we are trying is the mini grids, where you have a mix of different technologies. You have hydro, you have solar, you can use you set up mini grids in areas that are not served by the national grid. So we are also encouraging the private sector to go into that field until the national grid extends to that area. Then you connect to the grid. But for now, they will be isolated grids mixed with power supply. Yeah. We are in solar. We are trying methane gas. We have a pilot project that has been running for some years, generating up to 4 megawatts. We have now engaged 2 IPPs. One has been in the lake for some time. I think they might have 25 megawatts phase 1. They're promising to commission it by the end of this year. And then in the next 6 months, they will give us 75 megawatts. We have also concluded a deal with another IPP, up to 50 megawatts, methane to power. So it's also a new area that we are anxiously waiting to see it happening.
In closing, I'd like to get your view of the East African region. Where do you see things going in the next 5 years?
I don't think I'm qualified to speak about the East African community, but my personal view is I see East African, if they keep the trend of cooperation, I see success. When I talk of now engagements between Kenya, Rwanda and Uganda sharing power, that is success. When I see them opening borders for trade, that is success. When I see them opening borders for human capital, that is success. So my personal view would be, if they maintain the trend, I see a powerful East African community.
Brilliant. I see that too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too.